Hello! We are getting into the final match of the day. It's a best of 5 TvP, excuse me, and we're starting off on Frost. In the bottom right, as the blue Terran, he is ByuN.
And of course his opponent is going to be the foreign challenger. He lives in Korea currently, staying with No Regret in Scarlet. It's going to be the yellow Protoss Neeb.
Yeah. A little less Scarlet nowadays, I suppose, if she's in Canada. For like a month. But certainly still staying with No Regret. He was a part of the vlog that he made 2 days ago, yesterday, something like that.
Yeah, that thing got like 3,000 views, but more importantly, I got top comment on the video.
Congratulations.
I actually, for Neeb, obviously, he's one of the few players you would not classify as like needing to go to Korea to get better at the game, right? Somebody like No Regret, you can kind of say, like, all right, kind of C-list guy, goes to Korea, any training he does there would make him better for it. Neeb's already amazing. And what I love by this is not like a necessity thing, but more like honing his skills by moving there, training there, and having the most optimal practice possible. I'm not sure that he's exactly going to be super crazy revered or anything like he is in the foreign scene, but I do know for certain you've got people like ByuN already stating like kind of not loving playing against him, not knowing that he's the opponent at least.
Yeah. He said that he'd be afraid of Gumio and Neeb, but I think for two very different reasons. Neeb, Protoss, Neeb, super great foreigner that you haven't practiced that much against, or unknowingly maybe, I don't know how much Neeb's been practicing the Korean ladder, or ByuN for that matter too. Gumio, because it is such a practice matchup and TvT can be a little wonky, that he must have been afraid of that as well. We didn't really get to ask, I guess, who Neeb would have been more scared of, Symbol or ByuN.
I would honestly guess Symbol, to be honest. Not because of anything other than really race. Neeb's only really lost to Zerg from what we've seen more recently in majority of things we cast him in. You watch him play versus any Terran, and we always, like, you just assume adepts, you assume all in, and you just kind of laugh it off. You're like, how does anyone stop him?
Yeah. Yes, when it comes to the things that we've cast, for sure, people are going to bring up that he only loses to Terrans when it comes to his offline finals, but I think that's more to do with his semi-final, final unluckiness than it is against the race itself. Sometimes, however, like those games versus Semper, where two of them looked like easy peasy for Neeb, one of them was complicated, Neeb does get a little stuck on just Gateway Army. Gateway Army is great for a very long time, but if you're not transitioning to Tempests and you're not adding on Splash, then you can be overrun by Liberators, and that has been a problem for him occasionally. Let's see if ByuN knows this, is going to try and take advantage of it, or what. Or maybe Neeb is going to be super aggressive. It doesn't really matter, because you do see a Proxy Pylon and Resident Enclaves. No Robo, though, and no extra gateways quite yet. There they go down. 2 gateways. That's it. I'd expect either one more or a Robo. Ah, there it is. It's Proxy. Duh. Alright. Alright, that's...
So I mean, this is classic Neeb though, right? This isn't even something where ByuN should be that surprised by it. I mean, God knows ByuN's probably fought Neeb doing this enough, but also he does this in public matches that get cast on like the big screen at DreamHack and stuff. So it's to be expected, I feel. Frost especially, of all maps.
Yeah, Frost seems to be very just adept focused map. Drop might get some vision on this right before it hits. Resident Enclaves has to finish, and gateways are, well, I guess we're finishing right now. It's going to be close, but the problem is that even if he sees it, how does he react to it? He doesn't already have a bunker on the way that he's like, thank God I built that. He can't really bring back the drop that quickly. All I can do is hope to do damage as he receives damage. Oh no, the pull and the probes, and it worse! Oh okay. God.
Sometimes that happens to the best of us, but unfortunately to Neeb, that was today versus a player like ByuN. The Overcharge also does not kill the Medevac, but we'll see if the Adepts can get some damage done. There's a Widowmine here. We'll take out one of the Adepts, but unfortunately not going to stop all of them. Love this pickup in that Medevac to keep the SCVs alive, gets them over the wall. Now the tank's out. I think ByuN might just hold this. I think
he holds it, and he takes a great lead off of it, too. It's not tap-out time for Neeb. If he loses 10 more workers, it is. He did not take that much more damage from this Widowmine. But it's not great for him. He really wanted to do more SCV damage. At least the natural mineral line, which would have been 9 for 9 workers. Instead, not very much at all. Doesn't even get the medevac, almost lost his mothership core. That might be, in a different world, possibly microed against if this was 4 Marines instead of 2. But it is going to survive for now. And that doesn't put Neeb in a great position. It puts ByuN in a pretty good position. They're still missing very key things here, both of them. ByuN doesn't get stim until just now. He's going to start it. He doesn't have a 3rd CC, but Neeb, you know, ideally against a Widow Mine drop, you've got a 3rd Nexus over halfway done if you're just playing defensive macro-oriented. And he's not going to be close to that. In fact, if he sends a probe out, it's going to get denied. So, it's like, who came out a little bit better? I still put that for ByuN. His mules help. And he's at even a little bit better of a worker count. Adepts come in just as the tank moves. It's a little unlucky for ByuN. Is that one of mine still there? Nah, I moved. 6 workers makes it a lot better. 7 loses the adepts for it, so Neeb's army supply is in the gutter right now.
And that's a big problem, because it seems when Protoss do lose that supply early on, it's so much harder to replace. Like late game, you lose 12 adepts, not a problem. You warp in 8 more. We're not at that stage yet, and Neeb unfortunately is going to have to deal with a counterattack coming out of ByuN. Liberator on one side, Medevac might load up on another. Either way, like one mothership core, it's good, but it's not going to win you the game.
I think Neeb's making a very tough decision right now, and I'm not sure it is the best one, but he kind of prioritized whatever he can get on 2 bases, not getting a 3rd base so much. And it's like, what is better? The 3rd base could have been done by now if he had immediately tried to get it after everything was said and done. Instead, he went for Blink and now even a Forge. But on the other hand, you have a 3rd base, maybe you have probes on it, maybe not, because it's still not at a great count. You don't have tech to hold on to it anyway. Like, what does it matter? It's a tough position for him. And well, ByuN doesn't have a 3rd CC either. He just started it. He does shortly have Sim and a good amount of tanks. I don't know if Neeb can hold on, even after going for the upgrades that he did. Oh, so close. I guess Neeb will always have this counterattack potential. But every single time he throws adepts in, he also loses them. So it is that give and take.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like he's been doing nothing for these, but it's just not been getting the proper return to make it worthwhile. Now, as the tanks come across the map, maybe an Immortal or 2 might be out, but I don't know. I feel like shuffling the tanks around, ByuN's micro on top of this, the fact that he has, in fact, remembered combat shields, there's just a lot of things that are going really nicely for him. But above all else, I really like the +1 weapons. That timing's going to let him just tear through whatever he needs to with the bio.
And if he sees there's no 3rd base, he doesn't even have to commit to this. This is one chance for Neeb to take a great fight. He target fires a medevac, gets a tank as well. Adept's not quite on yet, but there they go now.
That's actually a good fight for Neeb. Starts turning this around a little bit, but now that the tanks are back out and on the ground, this might turn around once again. The Immortal still lives. He blinks into the dead zone of the tanks. If he picks up the tanks, he'll get focused down, so Neeb will hold the line and even push this back.
Yeah, but I think he did do more than hold the line. Remember that he delayed his 3rd base for this. That almost went like exactly like he wanted. That almost was a punishing attack, or defense rather, but...
Don't get me wrong, I agree. Like, that 3rd base being delayed, there's a lot of things going badly for Neeb. I mean, taking those 9 worker kills in the early game has certainly been affecting him up to this point. We're seeing the echoes of that even now. But that being said, he was in a position where his army was in the gutter. It was like 14 supply to 40 at a point. Like, the fact that Neeb has evened up the supply, he's evened up the upgrades, and while the base might be later, it's still looking like it might be faster than ByuN's. Kind of sets him up to bring this game back to what we'll call, like, normal status. I'm using air quotes. You can't see it.
Maybe. A 3rd CC, even if it was still delayed, he has better workers and a mule hammer in his back pocket. Dark Shrine was canceled. I was going to say, that wasn't close to finishing. As Neeb decides maybe he doesn't need it, or maybe it won't be useful. More importantly...
Doesn't need it?
Yeah, exactly. Because you gotta consider, ByuN's going to be defensive for a little while longer, and if you try and just run DTs in, it might just be a waste. So he's going to prioritize... I think he canceled it for the +2 weapons. Yeah, and Robotics Bay. If he can get Splash, that'll certainly help. I just went over how sometimes he's too late to Splash, and that kills him in even games. Much less ones that he's a little behind on. But Celebrators are now out, and he knows that is a problem. Missile turret comes in here, make sure there's not an observer running over his army, make sure there's no DTs, of course, as well, as there could have been. Warpers and Harassment's gonna have to do some work here. It's gonna certainly have to buy time, because whenever ByuN feels comfortable enough to push out, whether that's with 6 Liberators, or maybe like 160 supply, or maybe just whenever, I don't know if ByuN has a timing in mind, it's gonna be a scary time for Neeb, for sure. Warpers pushes in as Neeb, or ByuN pushes out, pretty perfectly timed. This is turret, but no Wood of Mine.
The Wood of Mine is scurrying to the backside. Looks like he won't get the Warp Prism, or maybe he will. The Wood of Mine is gonna get burrowed. Focus the Warp Prism. Goes off on the Adepts instead. Really unfortunate. So not able to cut that out. But meanwhile, he does push on the other side of the map. So defends but loses 15 workers. Can ByuN return some of that damage? The Liberator set up really nicely. And those Immortals are actually just in the range.
Oh, God.
Oh my God! How did it not get fired upon?
I don't know, but the Adepts saved it. But does it even
Yeah,
matter?
will it matter? Exactly. Like double the supply when it
Disruptor,
comes to
no!
army value. Time Warp actually gets used for once. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, Warpism's still alive, but he can't.
He can't afford Warp Ins. He has to use them all defensively.
Yeah, defensively, because he can literally afford them. I think it was a
GG.
gateway problem.
All right, ByuN will take game number 1.
Yes.
But damn, like Neeb playing from behind still plays better than most people we watch when they're ahead. So I'm really curious how that game would have gone if that wasn't the crazy Wood of Mine hit. Actually, let me hit you with this question before game 2. What do you think was worse? Like the fact that his Adepts didn't do really any damage with his first attack, or the Wood of Mine hit? Because obviously both together was just like the worst case.
The lack of damage from the Adepts, I would say.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that too. I mean, the Wood of Mine was certainly painful, but the Adepts were meant to like really get you ahead. You know, he dedicated to go strictly for that fast Adept attack. You know, the proxy gateway and all.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an unfortunate beginning for Neeb. He did, as you said, though, he plays pretty well despite being behind. Like, he made a tough decision and it almost worked out. If ByuN didn't have equally good micro on that one tank push, Neeb actually destroys the push and has a much more comfortable time beyond that. Still not in a great position, but a much better one. That's like 20 less army supply later on, right? But, sometimes you just can't help taking one Wood of Mine hit to the face, and hopefully this isn't a case of him just getting, you know, mentally crushed, because that seems to be his main problem. Maybe it's something to do with the fact that Wood of Mines do have that potential. This is not balance wine, and I know people balance wines all the time about what can end games really quickly, and a lot of people point out Wood of Mines. But it does seem to be that Neeb faces a Terran, gets either Hellion rushed, or like a Wood of Mine drop, right? And he just like, it's like, he just gets out of his zone or something. Whereas against Zerg, I guess it's less likely he'll get Bailing dropped really, really early on. Although it does sometimes happen. I don't know. His online play does seem to be more consistent than his offline play, so. Looking forward to New Gettysburg. It was Neeb's map choice.
I kind of feel like that,
Shit.
to an extent, can be applied to both of these players.
Why do I do this? Why do I even try?
What do you?
There we go. I hate the hotkeys again. Sorry.
I actually, so I don't know OBS. Quick question. Do you not get to save like a setting? Like, for example, I can have a save file called like Olimoleague, and when I load that, it only has Olimoleague scenes on it and nothing else. And then if I load like Corsair Cup one, it'll have only those. Or I can load my personal stream and it'll only have that and nothing else.
No, so it has profiles, but the profiles are completely useless. It's only for the stream key and settings.
Okay. So I was wondering, I know you hit that scene that goes like to your camera and stuff sometimes too from time to time. I was wondering if there's just like, delete that scene.
That's my camera, but to like this outer game overlay I have. Yeah, I mean, I literally just take the hotkeys to see if I could finally just get rid of it, because I never use it, except accidentally. It's not even in the hotkey settings. Where do you even come from then? Whatever.
Where did you come from? Where did you go?
That's
All
where
right,
studio might be different.
It's a best of 5, not a best of 3, guys. There's quite a bit of money in the line for this. We'll talk about the prize pool in just a moment. But in the bottom left side, it's going to be the blue Terran player, ByuN.
In the bottom right, as the yellow Protoss, he is Neeb.
So I actually, lots of stuff has changed, and obviously time being the first one when it comes to the Olimoleague, and a lot of this happened because of their partnership with Twitch Korea. Twitch Korea isn't exactly dumping in thousands of dollars into the Olimoleague per se. They're providing a studio broadcast, which is cool, but it did help stabilize the prize pool. And I think for a lot of these players, knowing that it's no longer fluctuating and dependent entirely on crowdfunding for the Patreon, does set a nice precedent for them to come out and play. I think we were talking about this conversion of course, Korean won or whatever, and it's not always going to be exact, but it's about 150-ish for first place, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
Compare that to like our average Corsair Cups, which are about $60. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but it's quite obvious that it's worth playing in the Olimoleague.
With literally better numbers, but... Is it a better tournament than the other? I don't know. Oh, Cyclone opener. I wonder... Cyclone openers are kind of coming back, and
Well,
Cyclone Beyond opener is coming back.
I was gonna say, there's the whole instance with innovation that got cited the other day when we had Drogo versus was that like no Euthermal and Drogo, when Euthermal went like 5 Cyclones at a time deep, and showed that like in some cases it can work. But you're right, like openers and almost responses that involve those pylon pushes. Okay, it's just one. Thank God. I was gonna say they can do stuff. We've seen that firsthand on the channel in more recent days, but one Cyclone with its mobility can certainly do quite a bit to annoy Protoss in the early game.
Yeah, it can. It can get some free kills too. If the Adept, for instance, right? It barely survives. Like an SCV could have tapped that immediately and probably killed it, but a Marine's coming back now. That's a forfeit if it's in the middle of the map, or a Stalker or anything. The Oracle could be forfeit too if the Cyclone was staying defensive, but it's trying to, I think, ideally get a Pylon, not the Adept.
Yeah, I mean, one of the problems with this is you need the vision for that lock-on. If you get it, great. If you don't, then it's kind of hard to actually use it.
Mm-hmm. Phoenix is going to help out versus that Cyclone. He might also just be going into Phoenix. He does still like to do that, and he's still very effective with it too. Neeb's Phoenix control is pretty top-notch, and not just his control, like not letting them die, which is, you know, basic rules of Phoenix, but rather his decision-making when to use them aggressively is oftentimes very impressive. Wood of Mine feels very useless and even misrallied. I don't think it was. It just looks that way. He wanted to deny the third base. Unfortunately gets caught by the Adepts. That is a real Phoenix. ByuN maybe thinks hallucination at first, but no one really gets a sentry this early. It just looks so weird seeing one of them. Oh no! Oh dear, run! Okay, he's good. Combat shields, stim are on the way. Really just a safety opener with that Cyclone into a lot of bio. You know, didn't go for a super quick starport, which a lot of other Terrans are doing. That Oracle can take on a Cyclone, absolutely. Boom. And that tap, 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 tap! Jesus, no, he closed the Oracle. That's supposed to happen. He's supposed to get fancy with it, kill some workers, then leave. So that's a little disappointing. He did not continue going into Phoenix, by the way, although he's still Chrono boosting a Stargate. Whoops, a daisy. And that means this poor Phoenix looks a little bit lost and confused. Poor guy. He's gonna die to a Wood of Mine, isn't he? It's your lot in life. Anyway, Starport's on the way now, and all ByuN has to do is wait for the medevacs to really amp the game up here. Oracle's gonna be remade. Neeb sees use in it. It's gonna go for Blink and +1. This is again not a super fantastic opener for Neeb, not nearly as bad as last game. It was the Wood of Mine plus the lack of adept damage that made that so bad last game, but still not super great. ByuN not gonna try going through the middle. Maybe even sneakily going up to the top, as he does advance his army long before medevacs. This might be a timing Neeb does not expect. Or he might scout it with the Shades. Well done with the scout. Oh, cool. This is an adept, but I think that was worth the scout.
Well, the revelation showing the attack coming. He scans ahead so he doesn't get completely bamboozled by that high ground. Does focus the sentry. No force fields and no guardian shield. Meanwhile, there's a Wood of Mine walking into the natural base while this goes on. Sneakily so. Nobody sees this.
No. No.
Oh, Neeb's gonna take a big hit. 6 workers go down. Not too bad.
Snap, snap, snap. Klondike 7. Thank you for the 7 million 30 sub. Meowth. Meowth. That's right. Double medevacs now coming forward, and they're even transporting the reinforcements, which is really nice. Because Revolution went down on just the Marines, these medevacs are not going to give away their position or the reinforcements, and Neeb could be in a lot of trouble I mean, losing a sentry sucks. He instantly replaces it, but the 9, 7 probe, 6 probe, whatever it was worse. This might just be too many Marines. No with an overcharge. Revelation, you helped, Oracle. Good job.
You did something. I love that he keeps targeting on the sentries. Guardian Shield would nullify so much of this, but you're right, it is looking like that's game, and Neeb has nothing to stop him. Even the pylon's gonna go down.
Wow.
GG.
GG.
ByuN, what a beast.
Yeah, really. This is the ByuN. This is the ByuN we're used to seeing, just domination. We were a little concerned because of versus Protoss. Last time we saw versus Protoss against like ByuN, he was a little lost, but no, he looks totally on fire. We are going to be going into game number 3, potential last game as well, as ByuN is up 2-0. So we're going to go to a quick break. See you soon. Welcome back, everyone. Potential last game here. In the top left on Frozen Temple, it is Neeb.
He might be on his last life, but I wouldn't count him out yet. Currently leading 2-0, though, on the other side of the map is going to be the blue Terran player, ByuN. Now, an interesting discussion got started after we mentioned the prize pool in our chat, discussing some things like how can people afford rent. You know, that's not much money to win in an Olimoleague, and even if you won 4 times a month, it's still not that much, etc., etc. The thing, though, about Korea that you guys have to understand, because I see people quoting like their $2,000 like a month rent apartments in Brooklyn and stuff. Korea works actually very differently with rent. We've learned this recently looking into housing and other things, and don't get the wrong idea, guys, we're not moving to Korea anytime soon. But, for example, in Korea, you pay a lot of upfront money, but your rent is really cheap over there. Like, where you might pay $1,000 a month in, say, the United States, you pay like $300 in Korea.
Yeah, but the
The catch is your security deposit is insanely high.
Yeah,
like 10 to 20,000 easily, if not way more than that.
Exactly. So it's a interesting, so different solution, you know? Like it's so weird, it's so different. This is a huge text wall, and it's looked initially like a troll. Okay. It is kind of a troll, but not, I thought it was gonna be worse. Donald Trump donated $2. Hey, BaseTradeTV, Pence is annoying me, and my wife just dumped me. So let's ask it straight away. Rifkin will be my first lady. Zombigo will be my vice president. This is very urgent. Please mail me at djt@walls.com. Thanks.
Donald Trump. I tell you what, I might be willing to be your first lady, but not if Zombie Rebel will be your vice president.
I thought that was surprisingly, what's the word? Not forward. Not advanced. Shit, I can't think of it. Like social change, very progressive of him to ask you to be the first lady and me to be the vice president. For Donald Trump, especially.
No,
so,
see, this is classic. This classic pickup artist right here. You're clearly falling prey to it because you're not identifying it. By putting and shifting the focus on me, it makes it look like he's not actually paying attention to you. But really, you are the end game here.
My small female brain kind of grasped that. Thank you.
No. Clearly, if he had just negged a little bit harder, it would have worked as well, but...
I actually love, like, that sounds like such good reasoning, actually.
What if, hear me out, guys, Donald Trump is negging America for the presidency?
This is terrible.
Think about it.
Way to start.
Think about it. Politics in chat. All right, so Cyclone coming up for ByuN once again. This one's not going to be super dynamic. This one's a lot more defensive than offensive like the last one, but he's going for a tank push.
Yeah, it's Frozen Temple, but this isn't accompanied by a couple SCVs. It's really just the whatever I have, let's send it forward type push. And the Cyclone's going to be used, he said, defensively against the Oracle, which is very important because there is an Oracle. I don't think ByuN knew that. He has scouted at all. He knows there's a proxy pylon, but otherwise nothing. Oh no, the Cyclone went for the pylon! No, that timing!
Son of a gun. Well, it's not going to kill too many SCVs, luckily. Other side of the map, a little bit too close to the pylon overcharge, so that's to back away with the tank, but as he does, we'll get those shots necessary. Cyclone would normally die to that Oracle, but the Marines come to save the day.
He's got on top of the probes now with splash damage, so some of them are going to start going down.
I mean, nice
actually.
pickup. I like that. Not in the medevac, but instead with the Phoenix. That was really clever. Keeps them, guarantees the kill, and he's going to chase down that medevac too. Still, 9 workers go down. ByuN, man, like every game, if it's not 9, it's 6, and then this time it's 9 again. Like, he is really getting into Neeb's, I don't know, if not head mineral line.
Yeah. Oh, I see he's a medevac. Can't believe that happened. The Adept attack is a little bit scary, but ByuN was doing what he can. He doesn't have a lot of units, so he builds a wall, Donald Trump style, with a bunker and a Liberator, and that's gonna do it. Yeah, Neeb can't do return damage. The Oracle died, right, to the Marine plus Cyclone, so this is just ByuN getting a better early game again. Can we not feed the troll? First of all, everyone assumes that, like, me arguing with people on the internet is feeding trolls. I hate that. Stop overusing that sentence. Second of all, I don't know, I thought it was kind of funny.
I think I understand now. Did you lose weight because you fed the troll your food?
I'm like Aladdin except with trolls. Give that bread to the orphan trolls.
When he ate that bread with a Boo, I'm not gonna lie, a Boo made that look like the most delicious bread I've ever seen.
It was like cake bread or some shit. Like, damn. Anyway.
There's that, and there's a scene in Sword in the Stone where like the guard's eating like a drumstick, and he just like sucks the meat off the bone. And I know that sounds lewd, guys. Whatever, I don't care, because it was the most delicious looking thing I've ever seen animated in my life.
Oh, because of the revelation, he almost lost that Oracle. That was so. Yes. Was that worth it? I don't know. Ends up being okay.
I don't think you really expect the Cyclone to be that effective, so I don't think it's complacency out of Neeb, but it's just a little bit more of a surprise factor. But third base coming down from him, so he's still on timing for things. ByuN, though, is ramping up his production, and I guess this you just asked actually if that revelation was worth it, and this is where I'll justify that I think it was, even if it died. Because getting in there, he did scout that there was no third CC. He did actually confirm a lot of barracks down in production. And this is where you worry about ByuN actually dedicating to something a little bit more two-basey and not trying to expand.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I was going to bring up the same thing. You do want to know how aggressive they are first. Now, ByuN is going to get to third CC eventually, but it's important to know his 5 racks first and foremost. You have a good eye on the rest of the army as well. You know the Cyclone's alive, Liberator's still alive, Tank is still alive. There's a lot of key units that can add a lot of damage given the proper positioning and the proper micro. And Neeb still has to be a little concerned. A lot of pro houses, of course, try and take fights on the ramp with pylons. Sometimes it really backfires against tank pushes because it's just freebie pylons. Neeb's not going to bother doing that. It is going to bother breaking down the rocks, though. This might give him better positioning. Might not matter at all. TBH. Blink is going to be done, +1's going to be done, but so is all of ByuN's upgrades, making his army still pretty damn scary with 20 army supply lead. Oh, you never took care of that pylon, I forgot.
Well, he's doing it now.
Yeah, he's got it.
Better late than never. Not that you really use pylons like that anymore anyways. The slow warping, just not worth it in most cases.
These Adepts, they should know the third CC is going down in location just with how ByuN was pushing like that. Oh, bye Oracle. Doesn't get the revelation. Kinda sucks. So these should go in there and try and cancel. But ByuN doesn't want to take a fight with Adepts unless he has a siege. Oh, well, wait a minute. I mean, Adepts plus the rest of Neeb's army, that is, of course.
And he's also bleeding out. Even like a couple of Adepts, like 3 going down in the middle of the map like that. This is going to hurt because he's already down pretty significantly in army supply. I mean, this position we've seen all too many times. At least the rocks are already down, so it won't be super crazy abusive, but this is worrying for Neeb, without a doubt. But last time we saw him in this position, he was able to fight decently around it.
That was a lot more tanks and a lot less bio. The bio is now the scariest part. The rest of it's just anchors that, you know, makes it game ending potentially, but 3 Liberators can start to kind of siege hop. Neeb won't make the same. I honestly couldn't tell if that Adept Shading was the mistake, the first one, or not, because he saved most of them, but anyway. Just using it for scouting here. Wood of Mines cover his tank and his Liberators a little bit too. And this is a very scary position. Neeb's considerably down 20 army supply. Maybe he'll try and fit in this 4th base. Maybe he'll use the Phoenix to help out. I mean, even just forcing a siege, unsiege rather, on the Liberator or picking up that Cyclone could help a lot. But he's not using them yet.
Yeah, I wonder, we didn't get to watch the games versus Gumiho, but I wonder if he played the same way or if ByuN's just playing a way different style, but I mean, you gotta consider this guy who just 2-0'd Gumiho to come to the finals and get 0-3'd by ByuN.
Yeah. Taking a fight without his upgrades quite being done. I could see taking the fight though. The Liberators weren't involved, but Bio was a little too strong. Yeah. Now takes out a single Liberator, but that tank is still getting a lot of shell fire like on these Stalkers. And the Wood of Mines are covering it so much, he actually can't move into what should have been a bare bones army. Neeb is gonna get 3-0'd. Now the bio does come back to protect it. GG.
Congratulations to ByuN. He will be this week's Olimoleague champion.
Yeah. Yeah, Neeb not getting that second title under his belts, but still a semifinal place, or a second place finish, thank you, does usually get you into the monthly finals.
And actually, there's an interesting element to this. I don't know how long it will be for. Maybe it'll be forever. Maybe it'll be just like these first couple of times. But consistently getting to the Olimoleague monthly finals, that's a lot of money on the line. But if you win it, Total Biscuit's been inviting those players to Shoutcraft Invitationals. So it'd be kind of cool to see like Neeb maybe doesn't win this here, but maybe comes back enough to get to those monthly finals. Boom, secures it over there, goes to Shoutcraft, has a great run. I don't know.
I'd be surprised he wasn't already invited.
Yeah, well, I have no idea how Total Biscuit seem to be focusing a lot on Korean, so maybe will, maybe won't. I don't know. But either way, I do hope to see more of Neeb in the Olimoleagues. He's always a very fun guy to watch. I love casting him, and it's nice to see him playing against really his true rivals, I guess we'll say. Like sometimes you cast him in North America, and you're kind of rolling your eyes, like, okay, we're just going through the motions. We all know Neeb wins, right? Like, come on. But over here in the Olimoleague, you know he's getting some of the tougher opponents he could possibly ask for. So that's good for him. It's good for us to watch. And anyways, enough about Neeb. It was ByuN who won. So congratulations once again to ByuN. Yay!
Yay! We'll take a quick break and come back and do the rest of our shoutouts. Hello everyone, thanks for watching those ads. So I was just doing the end stream shoutouts. So first and foremost, you just watched the Olimoleague. If you're interested in helping it out or interested in any of the awards, you want to check those out. It's like replays cast, replays itself, like the actual replay pack. We don't give out. The Olimoleague does. Go to patreon.com/Olimoleague. Yes.
Well, I got some things to talk about too about what's coming up for today. And
okay.
Of course, this isn't even our last cast, guys. In probably 10, I'm doing guesswork here, I don't actually know, I'm going to say 10-ish hours from now, we'll be back with the end of the WCS Mexico North America qualifiers. So hopefully you guys will come back and join us for that. We're just kind of lightly discussing during the break, though. There's some other awesome people streaming, so we'll definitely host somebody after the break. What do you think? The Muslim or Snoot? What's your flavor today? We'll go with your choice. Dealer's choice.
Snoot.
All right, we'll give Snoot a host in a moment. So if you guys don't already know, though, the Muslim's also streaming. So Snoot, make sure to check them both out. There's not a lot of great player streamers nowadays. We really got to give them support where we can, guys. So please, please, please head to either of those streams. I guess we'll host Snoot up. As for our sponsors on the channel, we briefly mentioned it before, but check out everything down below. We'll go into more detail in a moment on some of the cool deals and rewards and whatnot you can get. I do want to talk about, though, a couple of we talked about the ad block thing earlier. We had a good talk. I think people had a good discussion about it. But I also think it was really a discussion that takes more than a couple minutes on stream. So what I would love to do, and again, I'm not promising anything, is like get a couple of other streamers together and maybe make like a pseudo talk show or podcast where we discuss it, because I think a lot of people know that ad block is like necessary, but not a lot of people know how to like strategically use it that you can still help everybody with. I just know that for a fact on our channel. We've gone over a year at this point where we've maybe fucked up the ads once or twice every 4 months. We're really responsible with how we run them, and we don't ever run them over gameplay footage. So hopefully we can still convince you guys to consider whitelisting the channel. That being said, though, other good ways to help us out are all listed down below. Amazon helps Zombie Grub directly by using any of those links. If you're shopping on Amazon, make sure to click on those links first. That way they know you came from Zombie Grub's links, and you should get a small portion of purchases and all that good stuff. For the channel's sake, though, make sure to check out all of our wonderful sponsors. G2A, save games for cheap. Use promo code BASE. Corsair has all of their gear listed down below. Specifically, those links will tell them that you came from BaseTradeTV, so click them, and click them good, guys. Subscribe to our YouTube, too, by the way. Sorry, I forgot about that. That's the other thing I was going to talk about. We're really working on building that up. We are less than 700 subs away from a 10,000. I'd love to try and hit that number soon, so please, guys, youtube.com/BaseTradeTV. We put up some content there that we don't put up on the channel for streaming, like our co-op adventures and some other things. So please, please go check out our YouTube. The rest of our sponsors, of course, Chairs for Gaming. If you live in North America or the United States, promo code BaseTradeTV will save you $20 on your purchase, as well as free shipping and handling. And then last, but certainly not least, whenever a holiday rolls around, watches are always a nice gift, and wood watches are certainly ones you should check out. So woodwatches.com/base. It even shows you, they're really awesome about transparency on this, exactly how long until we get our next tournament with Yord. It's all based on how many watches you guys buy. The very, very last topic I have on this mouthful of an exit is we do want to do some stuff with the balanced test map. We talked about this on a previous cast. I'm just going to kind of drop it in here. We can't really justify putting $1,000 into a once-off tournament, but I would ideally like to run 3 balanced test tournaments, ideally maybe a week or so apart. So we'll be looking into trying to do that. We'll certainly open up funding. Maybe we'll do it through Matcherino like we've done in the past, or maybe we'll just do some collective funding. But either way, we do want to try and get about maybe $100 to $200 prize for each of those, which would be great, as they are just super miscellaneous events, but I think could be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that does officially wrap everything up. So, any final words from you, Zombie Grub?
No. I was actually gonna just quote this spammer, but you know what? I decided not to.
We're growing up. We're growing up so fast. Follow her on Twitter at ZG Gaming, guys. Follow me on Twitter at Riff_Kings. And, of course, follow the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for watching. We'll see you later today with those North American qualifiers. Take care and enjoy Snoot's stream. Tell him we said hi. Give him some love and some base trades.
Bye.